So DC decided to take another shot at making a solo Batman movie starring Robert Pattinson as Batman and Matt Reeves directing. Off the bat, I gotta tell you, this movie's dark in every way possible. The acting, the story, the lighting, the cinematography, everything. This movie takes a lot of inspirations from movies like Seven, Zodiac, and even 1997's The Game, mixed in with a little Fight Club at the end. Do you want to know what all these movies have in common? They were all directed by David Fincher. So this movie was kind of like a love letter or homage to the director. So if the movie is inspired by a director who does a lot of neo-noir mystery drama thriller movies, what do you think this movie's going to be? If you're expecting a roller coaster like your typical Marvel movie, this is not going to be the film for you. This movie's closer to Blade Runner than it is your typical superhero. That is what makes me worried a little bit, because a lot of people watch this movie and they're going to be surprised. If you're thinking you're going to watch an action-packed Batman movie, you're going to be a little disappointed. There is action in the movie, but when it happens, it's very sporadic. This is not a movie that you take your kids to see. It's so close to rated R, I could practically smell it. Denying that this is in fact a Batman movie. In almost every Batman film, they establish an invisible line where they separate Batman from his Bruce Wayne persona. While he is Bruce Wayne, it's usually more dialogue heavy, whereas when he is Batman, it's more action packed. This movie almost eliminates the Bruce Wayne persona completely. He is Batman the entire time. So when the movie does slow down, he's still in the costume. It kind of reminded me of the old Batman cartoons, where most of the episode would be about Batman and you would almost never see Bruce Wayne in his office. There have been some talks about Robert Pattinson having a great Bat voice, but that's because he doesn't have to separate the personas. So he doesn't really have to distinguish his Bat voice from the Bruce Wayne voice. So it's really hard to say if it's true or not. So they decided to take a different route when it comes to the storytelling in this. The camera follows Batman the entire time. If you see someone walk into frame and you don't see Batman, trust and believe he's not far behind. Depending on how you view this, it could be a strength or a weakness. I saw it as a detriment to the storytelling. There is times I wanted to see what certain characters were up to when Batman was gone, like the Riddler. I would have liked to see him planning or setting up a trap or something, or even interacting with some people. In this movie, if he's not interacting with Batman, then he's not on screen. I mean, I know it does add a little mystery to his character, but it hurts his character making an impact on the audience. I thought he did a great job, but his rendition of the Riddler will not be remembered. So I want to talk about spoilers now. You can skip to the end of the video for my final rating if you want. To start my spoiler review, this is probably the least stealthiest Batman in all of media. The only thing this man avoids is the sun. When he's beating up on thugs, he walks out in bright light. Early in the movie, Batman needs to get into an underground club, and the first thing he does is knock on the front door and try to punch his way in. But he does get a little smarter later in the movie though. Whereas instead of walking in the Batman costume, he takes out the guard, then sneaks in, but then another guard follows him into a bathroom and he just punches him in the face. This scene kind of gave me a little chuckle. I do have a problem with a few scenes in the movie regarding Batman. So in the movie, Batman is trying to help disarm a bomb. The bomb goes off in his face. Batman gets knocked out and ends up at the police station surrounded by the police. My first thought was, did nobody check his mask? He does wake up, but there was plenty of time for someone to check underneath his mask for his ID. After this scene, he then glides off the police tower. Then his parachute gets caught under a bridge. He hits a truck and then bounces on the ground almost like 40 feet. I was like, that was kind of bold to kill Batman so early in this movie. But then he gets up and I'm like, oh, okay. Batman was kind of a dick in this movie. In this movie, Batman sends Catwoman undercover. She meets with Carmine Falcone. His interactions with her implies that he has a relationship with her. Now, Batman does not know what kind of a relationship he has with her, so he kind of implies that she's a prostitute, compromising her value for money. And I'm like, wow, Batman was kind of a dick for just assuming that she would just sleep with Carmine Falcone for money. On top of that, I was like, even if she does sleep with them, that's none of your business, because she did not grow up rich. She has to work just like everybody else. I do like the fact that Catwoman was her own character in this. She spends the entire time trying to solve her girlfriend's disappearing case. And you know what? She does it off screen. That's what I was talking about when I wanted to see the camera follow other people to see what they were doing. I know girlfriend can mean different things, but I'm 100% positive she was in a relationship with this woman. They don't say it out loud, but her actions show that they were more than just roommates. She almost kills a cop because of it, and almost attempts to kill Carmine Falcone because of it as well. I also like that Catwoman does not have super strength in this movie. There's a fight scene towards the end of the movie where she's being overpowered by a man twice her size. This guy has easily over 100 pounds on her, and I believe it was because she definitely underestimated him during the fight. The next thing I want to talk about in this movie is the Riddler. My interpretation of the Riddler is that he is an amalgamation of all the nice guy forums on Reddit with the way he obsesses over Batman. He talks to Batman like he sees something special in him and that they were secretly working together, which had me confused because Batman was clearly working with the police the entire time. Why he would think Batman would be on his side is beyond me. He would also often put Batman in danger that could possibly get him killed. There was a situation in which he put a bomb on someone's neck and then he requests to speak to Batman. They did not want you to like him at all in this movie, because in this movie he's exposing the corruption that happens in Gotham City government and the police station, how the entire Gotham City pretty much works for the mob. The Riddler was killing all the people connected to it one by one, draining the swamp if you will. But at the end of the movie, they added a new motivation where he tries to set up a mass shooting. And I was like, where did that come from? The scene at the end of the movie, I feel like was added after the fact, because I did hear about rumors of there being reshoots because they said that there wasn't enough action. And I believe that it definitely was added after the fact. Throughout the movie, he's doing everything by himself. You don't really see him getting help from other people. That's why I was shocked by the ending. He is a serial killer, but he only kills one person at a time. The damage he's doing is not worth the effort on Batman's part. In my opinion, if he was killing anybody else, nobody would really care. But because he's killing the mayor and the district attorney, it draws way more attention. Had he been killing regular people, I don't feel like Batman would have been involved in this case at all. The Riddler had multiple attempts to kill a large amount of people, but he doesn't. He just kills individual targets. Like for example, in this movie, he decides to kill Bruce Wayne by mailing a bomb to his house. The bomb was a small one. He could have sent a big one to kill lots of people, potentially blowing up Bruce Wayne's house, but he only seems to send a small one, really only affecting the person who opens it. That's why I was so confused at the end when he tries to set up a mass shooting. It did not fit his motivation at all. That's why I thought it was added after the fact. Even the plan in the end was kind of stupid. So Riddler set up bombs to flood Gotham so everyone would go into a shelter where they would be shot up by Riddler's followers hidden in the roof. It would have been just easier just to bomb buildings of the people you had problems with. Gotham was its own character in the movie. Gotham felt more hopeless in this movie than any other movie. At one point, Batman feels that his presence does not help and that crime has gone up because of it. It seems like he was just beating up on low-level people. He never dealt with anyone of substance in the mob. So he really wasn't doing anything. I don't think the action scenes in this movie were... Nothing in the movie stands out. I don't care what anyone says. The warehouse scene in Batman vs Superman will forever be the best action scene with Batman. There was a chase scene in the movie with the Penguin, but it was kind of hard to follow. The other action scenes, if you can call them that, were really not that great, and they were hard to see because of the lighting in the movie. Everyone in this movie had an excellent performance. I honestly thought the mob boss Carmine Falcone, played by John Turturro, was amazing because he kept everything subtle and calm. Like, he wasn't one of those angry mob bosses that would yell at everyone. Robert Pattinson as Batman was solid choice for Batman. I wish he had a Bruce Wayne though, but he was definitely a good Batman. Zoë Kravitz as Catwoman did a beautiful job holding her own as Catwoman in this movie. It felt like it was a mini origin story for her, but it was good nonetheless. Andy Serkis as Alfred was the most built Alfred we had ever seen. He could have been with Batman patrolling the streets, but you know, it wasn't his movie or whatever. But he wasn't also in the movie that much. Jeffrey Wright as Jim Gordon was pretty good too. Like I said, everyone had a great performance in the movie. No one had an actual weak performance, but I thought the standout performance was the Penguin because his acting was by far the best in the movie. Not many people can pull off a fat suit. Like, very few people can pull off a fat suit that well, but he manages to do it. I do like this movie, but I don't think it was amazing. I think it's good. I think it's solid. I'm excited to see what they do with this universe, to see their different interpretation of the characters that we haven't seen in a while or in a long time. They do tease the Joker at the end, and I'm not very excited for it because we always see Joker. Maybe they could do Mr. Freeze or the Court of Owls this time. This movie was a solid 7 out of 10 for me. That was pretty much it. I'm your boy Rant, and I'm out.